So hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Now recently I've been getting a hell of a lot of questions about my gear, about what I use and why I use it, and people generally asking for advice. Now I wish I could reply to every single person individually, but I simply do not have the time. So I thought I'd do a classic what's in the bag video, landscape photography and vlogging edition, something that I've never done before. So let's get into it. Okay, yeah, so what's in my bag? Landscape photography and vlogging edition. Now, I'm going to try and keep this as brief as possible because there's just no reason for me to drag this video out at all. So I'm going to start, of course, with the bag itself. Now, this is a Low Pro Fastpack BP 250 AW2. Very, very long-winded, but it's a wonderful, wonderful bag. It really is. Now, I don't believe there's one bag for landscape photography that's going to suit all of your needs, you know. There's times I might just go out down the canal near my house. There's times I'll be out on a day hike. There's times I'll be doing wild camping. This bag's not going to cover all of those scenarios. This is a really good bag for everything sort of in between. I have a bigger sort of hiking bag that obviously I haven't got with me today that I use for my wild camping and stuff like that. But this is a great bag for everything else. I'd like to get something a little bit bigger, something in between my big hiking bag and this, because I do have my drone and stuff like that. And sometimes I find I haven't got much room left for water, and you know, I'd like to take a little bit of extra food and stuff. So this is packed full to the brim, but like I say, wonderful, wonderful bag. Now, secondly is the tripod, which is a beast. My subscribers will know I only got this fairly recently. Absolutely delighted with it. I mentioned in a previous vlog I spent a little bit more money on this that I probably would have liked. Probably went a little bit over budget, you know. But yeah, it's the Manfrotto 055CX Pro 4 carbon fibre. Wanted it to be a little bit lighter than the aluminium one because I do a lot of hiking, like I've mentioned. But yeah, fantastic tripod. Really good compromise between something that's very robust and, you know, is stable, which is effectively what you want from a tripod, but also isn't, you know, way too heavy when you're climbing up hills and stuff like that, which, like I say, I do very often. And then I've got this ball head here. I can never remember the product code for this. I'll put it up on the screen. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. Does everything that I want. Really good for leveling itself out for panoramas. Just an all-round fantastic ball head. It really does make the job a hell of a lot easier compared to the tripods that I've had in the past. Fantastic tripod. Right, secondly, and I probably should have done this first, the camera. The camera itself, which of course my subscribers will know, is the awesome Nikon D7200. Really big fan of this camera. If you want to know a little bit more in depth, there's a video up here. I don't want to talk about the D7200 too much. I'm sick of talking about it after that video. But yeah, just wonderful all-round camera. For where I'm at with my photography at the minute, I'll call myself an intermediate. Perfect for my printing, perfect for my Instagram photographs, and perfect for my photographs that I show here on this YouTube channel. Top drawer. Okay, so you've heard about the camera, and now to the lenses. Now, 2019, this is a year where I really want to be investing in better lenses throughout the year. I want to take my time, do a lot of research, but at the minute and throughout 2018, definitely, I've been really, really happy with the lenses that I've got. What I really did prioritize over the past couple of years was my focal range. So I've got my Tokina 11 to 16 f2.8. Fantastic lens. This is specifically made for APS-C or crop sensor cameras, or if we're talking Nikon DX cameras. Fantastic lens, extremely sharp. You know, I wanted a good wide angle lens because I'm a landscape photographer, simple as that, and this one is top drawer. Secondly, my kit lens, which is currently on the camera, Nikon 18 to 55 vibration reduction. Not much to say. Like I mentioned, I was going for the focal length. Of course I could have a sharper lens, but like I said, class myself as an intermediate, and these three lenses are giving me, you know, more than enough sharpness throughout my images. But like I say, I want to be stepping up my game this year, but for now these are fantastic. And then I've got another Nikon kit lens, DX 55 to 200. Fantastic lens, hasn't got VR, but I always use it on my tripod. Like I say, focal range, really important. I've got from 11mm right up to 200, which is, especially on a crop sensor camera, if you're wanting that telephoto, it's just a fantastic focal length and covers everything for me in terms of focal range. Now let's move on to the drone. This is probably something you guys don't see too often because it's obviously This is for the vlogging side of things. I don't often take too many photographs with this, but it's just the Mavic Pro. The Mavic Pro 1, I guess there's a Mavic Pro 2 out now. Never really felt the need to upgrade. Fantastic drone, does everything that I need to. I feel absolutely privileged to have this in my my photography bag every week. I do use it for photographs occasionally, for stills, and obviously it gives you any possible angle you could wish for. Fantastic. Obviously it hasn't got as good a sensor as my stills camera, my D7200, but it's not the reason I bought it. I bought it to take my YouTube videos to the next level, and it has been more than good enough. Fantastic drone. Comes highly recommended from myself. And this is just the drone controller. Don't need to show you that really, but I'll show you these things. These are fantastic. I got these off Amazon. I'll put all these as a link in the description, by the way. Pretty sure that we were only talking about 10 or 15 pounds here for these, but these are mint. Obviously made with some sort of 3D printing technology, sort of foamy on the inside, zip close, a sort of hard shell. Fantastic. Obviously you want to be protecting this sort of gear that's really, really expensive, and these have done the job more than well enough. If you've got a Mavic Pro, I would highly recommend these. These are fantastic, and they don't take up too much space in your camera bag as well. So that's the drone out of the way, and let's talk about my filters. I'm still sort of building my range of filters that I've got, but I started out with the Nissi 100mm filter system, which I just think is fantastic. I don't want to get into a debate about other filter systems at all. Basically, I was living in New Zealand at the time when I bought this, and Nissi, I believe, is a Chinese company, but I felt like it was easier to get Nissi gear in New Zealand than it was to get Lee Filters gear, and now I'm back in the UK, it's kind of the other way around. So I find it more expensive to buy Nissi gear here in the UK and Europe. Perhaps I just haven't researched well enough. Let me know if you know anywhere where you can get decent value on Nissi filters, but I just find them really expensive now I'm back in the UK. But like I say, only reason I got it really is because it's a fantastic setup. Did a hell of a lot of research. Really like the landscape polarizer, because it was much cheaper than the Lee filters. That's the only reason. But yeah, that's the Nissi V5 Pro setup. Fantastic. So that was the filter system itself, and when I bought the filter system, I bought myself a Nissi 6-stop neutral density filter, which if you watch my videos, I use this all the time. I use it, not all the time, I use it a lot. I love my long exposure photography. I will be getting a 10-stop ND filter soon. I'll probably be getting a Lee Filters 10-stop ND filter, purely just for the same reason I mentioned before. You're looking like 40 or 50 pounds cheaper than the Nissi one for some reason. Again, if anyone knows anywhere where you can get the Nissi filter, Nissi 10-stop filter for the same price or cheaper than the Lee one, I would probably prefer to get the Nissi filter just because it's the same as the sort of, the setup that I've already got, the filter system. But yeah, love my 6-stop filter. I'd highly recommend a 6-stop filter for any sort of budding landscape photographer. And then I've got a soft edge 2-stop ND grad filter, which I've very rarely used, to be honest, from Breakthrough Photography. Never had any issues with it, but like I said, I just never really use it that much. Dynamic range seems brilliant on the Nikon D7200. Yeah, I don't often use it. Now, in saying that, I've got a Lee Filters 3-stop medium edge. Now, shooting a lot of these sorts of landscapes where we've got hills, peaks, the Lake District Fells, the Snowdonia Mountains. So yeah, the 3-stop 0.9 graduated neutral density filter medium edge is fantastic for these sorts of landscapes. So it's an absolute, well, it's not a must for myself. Before I had this, I'd do a lot of bracketing and stuff, but I just love doing as much photography as possible out in the field, and this is just another bit of gear that makes that possible. Again, I would prefer to have had the Nissi 3-stop ND grad medium edge, but Lee one was just well cheaper, so that's the reason I got it. And then I've got a 10-stop neutral density filter, which obviously is one specified size. It only fits onto my 18 to 55mm lens and my 55 to 200mm lens. Don't use it too often, to be honest. I think, oh god, nearly wouldn't be using it at all then. Jesus, nearly at the rocks. But yeah, I think I find that if I ever want to use a 10-stop, I want to use it on my wide angle, on my Tachyna lens, because I'm always down, at a lakeside or down near the ocean where I've got some rocks in the foreground, whereas I wouldn't really use it with my sort of longer focal length lenses, if that makes sense. But yeah, like I said, I'd like to get a Lee big stopper at some stage, 10-stop, or a Nissi 10-stop preferably, but we'll see. Okay, so that's pretty much my stills setup explained. Really simple, guys, to be honest. And then I'll move on to the vlogging side of things. Obviously, I've mentioned my Mavic Pro already, which is a fantastic bit of kit. Just, you know, it adds so much more to your videos, I find, you know, for your storytelling and stuff like that. Nice and simple. And like I said, I feel privileged to be able to have that in my backpack. Now, my vlogging camera, Canon PowerShot G9X, fantastic camera. I've never really felt any reason to upgrade. Wonderful autofocus on the Canon cameras, and nice and light. I think it's a wonderful vlogging camera overall. I would like it to have an articulating screen, but again, it's not a massive deal. Sometimes it's just a bit annoying, you know, when I'm vlogging like this, holding the camera. It'd be nice to be able to see the screen, see if my head's in shot. And then when I'm setting up this sort of shot, it'd be nice to be able to see if I'm, you know, in the frame rather than taking a little video clip, coming and sitting down, coming back round and adjusting it accordingly. But wonderful camera for vlogging all round. If I was going to upgrade, I'll most definitely be sticking with Canon, to be honest. Wonderful. And then obviously linked to the vlogging camera itself is the tripod that's currently sat here, which is the Manfrotto Compact Action Tripod, I believe, which is actually the first tripod I actually bought for myself, which was my first stills tripod, if you want to call it that, which I used on my Nikon D3100. Did the job back then. It's a little bit lightweight and flimsy for the D7200. Wouldn't really do the job just now, and obviously I've got the 055 series Manfrotto tripod now. But yeah, that was a wonderful tripod when I used to use it, and it made me want to stick with Manfrotto, and now it's more than adequate for my vlogging setup for the Canon G9X. Wonderful tripod. And then I suppose the last thing to say about my vlogging is my audio setup, which I think is massively important. It should never ever be overlooked if you ever want to get into vlogging. Of course, you know, your image quality is important, but nothing's more important than your audio. If you've got rubbish audio, people are going to switch off your videos pretty much straight away, trust me. So I bought a Rode lav mic. I don't know exactly the model. It's never really let me down. There's been, I think, once that I can think of was on the Isle of Mull, where it just failed for some reason, but it could well have been my phone. I don't have a dedicated excuse me, I don't have a dedicated voice recorder. It's probably something I'd like to get in the future, but I use my phone along with the Zoom Handy Recorder app, which is on iOS. Obviously, I've got an iPhone 6S Plus here. Could well be on Android as well, but I think the audio quality is more than adequate for what I need it for. You know, maybe perhaps make up your own mind. You're listening to me now from this wonderful microphone. And then I've got these, are they called Dead Cats, I think? 3 for about £6 off Amazon. Obviously I live in the UK, it's bloody windy all the time, so this helps to sort of get rid of any of that annoying wind noise and keep the audio quality up to scratch, basically. And so that's pretty much it. I suppose I'll talk you through some of my clothing very, very briefly. I'll just get my jacket. Okay, so I've got a Rab jacket for no other reason than they're just fantastic quality. I love the fact that they're made in the UK. Yeah, this is just perfect for sort of UK weather, even throughout winter. It's got a micro light alpine jacket, down jacket. You know, it squashes down fantastically if it's a little bit warm out. I think it's a really good thing to have as a landscape photographer, because there's times, you know, you're often out hiking, so fleece, even sometimes in winter when it's less than 0 degrees, you know, you're working hard, you've got heavy weight on your back, you're going to get warm quickly even in cold conditions. But then as soon as you stand still when you're taking a photograph, it's wonderful to be able to slip one of these on. Lightweight, does the job, a little bit water resistant as well, top drawer. And then I'm not going to go into detail about this stuff, it's just a bloody fleece, a pair of hiking pants. These, I'll go into a bit of detail because these are absolutely unreal. Before these I had a pair of Caramore boots, and I had them all through New Zealand, and they were just like horribly uncomfortable. And these Scarpas, I'll put the name or model at the bottom of the screen. Oh my god, honestly, like, I never thought a pair of shoes could possibly be so comfortable. These are just, I will stick with Scarpa for the rest of my life. These are absolutely amazing. They were fairly expensive, I think they were about £120, but worth every single penny. It's priceless to have comfortable feet when you're out hiking all the time. They keep my feet dry. Quite like the way they look as well. I'm going to throw that one in there. Yeah, just all around super, super comfortable and warm. Fantastic. We've also got a couple of pairs of, you know, decent hiking socks at home, which really do add a little bit of comfort to your feet as well on those cold days. But again, I don't need to really mention stuff like that. It's just garments at the end of the day, isn't it? I've got a Patagonia, one Patagonia base layer here as well. I always went out in like cotton t-shirts, not necessarily in the summer, you know, that would be my base layer, a cotton t-shirt, which I don't care that much about, but when you wear cotton and obviously you sweat when you're out hiking, it just soaks up all that sweat, and then of course when it's cold, the sweat goes cold. It's just bloody horrible. If you can get a proper base layer, honestly, it makes everything so much more comfortable. It just wicks away all the sweat, and you don't get that sort of wet back, especially, you know, where you have your backpack and stuff. But yeah, again, don't need to go into too much detail about garments. So yeah, that's pretty much my whole setup, to be honest, guys. Nice and simple. If you do have any more questions about my gear, why I use certain things, or you know, just any general questions, do comment below. I'll make sure that I answer every single question underneath this video. I'll make a point of that. So yeah, cheers for watching. That is my what's in my bag video, landscape photography and vlogging edition. Hope you enjoyed. Please do subscribe. We'll be on another epic adventure next week. Cheers for watching. Out.